Our guys are excited to get to work for Buffalo. It's a good team. They've grinded out two really good wins, and it's a disciplined football team that really has just managed to kind of do whatever it takes to get those 2 wins. So they're 2-0. I know they're going to be excited to be playing at home. I've been there for opening day before. It's a pretty wild place. So guys got to be dialed in and ready. It'll be very similar to what we dealt with in Seattle in terms of noise and all that stuff. So it's a good fan base. It's fired up for football, and it'll be a fun challenge for our guys. Probably a little premature with Michael Jordan. It didn't look as serious as we initially thought. So we'll take him day to day right now, see how it goes. But as far as the other stuff's concerned, it's kind of what we talked about the other day. So I'll open up for questions.
If Mike can't go, you plug Billy in at left?
Yep.
How do you think he did in his limited run?
Billy? He only played, I think, 12 or 13 snaps, and so there's not a lot to judge on. He gets thrown in there at the end of the game, and unfortunately got the one penalty where I don't know if he grabbed it or not. The guy kind of hit him full steam there, and he got called for penalty. But other than that, it's tough to judge a guy's first 12 snaps of the season. You want to get him a little bit more time before you make an evaluation.
How much is it, putting him at left instead of doing the swap? Is it just that you just don't want to mess with what Trey's doing? Is that really the biggest
Correct.
factor?
Yeah, it's a one-spot move as opposed to switching 2 people. And Trey has been really consistent. His communication has been really good in the middle. Full confidence that Billy could play center as well. There's just no need to do that. Billy did a good job for us in training camp at guard, and we've got full faith that, again, we really had a starter that just wasn't playing for us. And so if Billy's got to step in there, we have full confidence in him.
We just talked to Billy in there. It seems like he is hungry to prove himself at that guard spot. Do you feel that too?
Absolutely. He's had the right attitude since training camp, since he came off that foot injury, and so excited to see what Billy brings to the table.
Zach, in the locker room just now, to quote Joe Mixon, he said I've been hell a week quite a few times. He's taking a lot of the blame for the run game issues. Do you like him sort of taking that on his shoulders? Do you want him to take that on his shoulders?
I like guys that are accountable, whether it's on them or not. It's a great thing to see guys pointing the finger at themselves as opposed to pointing at their teammates. And we know we've sat in there, trust me, as a unit, as a team, and hammered out all the reasons for our lack of success so far. So it's very clear that it's the entire unit and 11 guys functioning together in conjunction with the coaches, putting us in the right positions. And so there's no need to point the finger at one guy. But again, Joe's been great locker room presence for us. He's accountable for the things that he can control, and that's what we're going to need to be successful.
Do you feel like defenses are trying to take Joe Mixon out of the game and force Andy Dalton to pass?
No. I mean, really, we saw 2 totally separate game plans the first 2 weeks. And, again, really, if you want to look at the run game, you just look at the first half. We were down 31-10 first drive of the third quarter, and the game changes. So there's a lot to talk about based on one half and lack of production, but that's just a small window of what the season will look like.
About left tackle, Andre be able to go, and Cordy Glenn, any update with him?
No update on Cordy Glenn. Same update as usual. I think Andre will end up being good to go. We'll just take him day to day right now.
How much blame does Joe then deserve for the run game? I mean, when you go back and look at the tape, I mean, is it predominantly on him to just make better reads and cuts?
No, I mean, I don't think there's blame to be placed on any one person. It's all 11 people. If you actually watch the runs, you can really point to a poor play call or someone different making an error on every single one. It's not one person. And again, we're really talking about 12 runs in the first half. That's all there is to even look at.
Can you attribute much, if any, of the lack of the run game success to this point, especially when it comes to Joe with his lack of carries during preseason?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say just overall, we got a unit who's we just got to hit our stride and continue to build that chemistry in the run game. And you can point to any number of reasons, but the bottom line is we got to get it fixed right now and make sure that we build that chemistry over the course of the week and that we're all on the same page. We all understand what the intent of every run is. And I wouldn't say that it was due to the not playing the preseason.
Buffalo Bills defense, number 1 in the NFL against the pass last year, number 1 in the NFL in yards per pass attempt this year. So run game becomes important with the team that can play to defend the pass.
It does. They're a really good defense. And they're really sound. They're on the same page. You wouldn't say they're overly complicated. They just they play with great technique and they bring the fight to you. So we're going to have to be sound, in our systems and what we're doing as well. But it'll be a good test for our guys.
When you look at the red zone play for you all the first 2 weeks,
In the I feel like we've called one red zone play, to be honest with you. We really haven't been in the red zone per se. We ran the ball down there in the goal line and scored a touchdown on the one play action. And then all the other stuff has really been fringe red zone stuff where we've just been making field calls for the most part. The lack of production has been the penalties knocking us backwards when we're on that fringe. And that has really what's killed us. But, we prepare a red zone game plan every single week, and it feels like we haven't even gotten to use it yet. So it's just been silly stuff that keeps us moving backwards.
So I guess so to kind of move that back to when y'all get within the 40, you feel like it's just penalties that have just been putting you behind the sticks?
It really has been. We had a play on 1st and 10 that would have gotten us down to the 12, and instead we got -10, and so we were in 1st and 20. And then we got down to the 3rd down and actually got a penalty on the 3rd down that knocked the field goal even further back as well. So moving backwards, that's exactly what it feels like has happened.
Was the one red zone play the touchdown? Was that the one call? You said you felt like you won.
Well, we just got down there to the 2-yard line very quickly. We called a run play, threw the ball to Auden Tate for 6 yards, and then just kept calling some tempo runs very quickly, trying to hammer it in there. So that's not even really a red zone offense. That's just us getting on the ball and trying to hammer it in on them real quick and then hit them with a quick play action on the goal line. But aside from that, it really doesn't feel like we've even really been inside the 15-yard line, 10-yard line where we get a chance to utilize our red zone stuff. We've just been moving backwards too much.
Buffalo's defense only allowed people in the red zone twice in 2 games. They haven't really let people get in that scoring zone, but they have given up 2 touchdowns in those 2 opportunities. What's their red zone defense look like to you?
Haven't seen much of it. They haven't been down in there, but to be quite honest with you, that's something we focus in a little bit more at the end of the week. So we've been through those games, like you said. If you watch the first 2 games of the season, there's not many red zone snaps to watch. We got coaches that are assigned to red zone. As the week gets going, we focus on that on Friday. You watch what they've done over the last year, and you really dial in. I do know that they've been successful over the past, and they've got a really good plan down there. So we'll have to be really specific with what we want our guys to do.
I know we talked a little bit about this in the preseason, but the trend of the holding calls across the league and how jumped up they are. I mean, it's almost double. Now that you've seen 2 games across, I mean, do you have to now approach maybe coaching guys differently or talking about doing different things, or how do you approach handling to avoid being victimized by that?
It's hard. It is hard because some of them, you have a hard time seeing the hold. And so you tell a guy, hey, don't hold, and he might not be holding. And so all that we stress to our linemen is they're calling it. They called it on the 49ers. If I was on the 49ers offensive staff, it'd be, I don't know. They called someone else. And so they're going to call it. And so our guys just got to be aware. You can't have your hands outside the framework. If you're at the point of attack, you got to be very careful as the ball passes you. You can't be grabbing cloth. And so it's getting called around the league. It's not just us. It's everybody. And so guys got to make sure that we make no excuses for it, and we just do our job and do it the right way.
If a guy's hand, like Andre, for example, in that 12-yard run, his hand was not even in contact. It didn't look like to me with the defender. It might have been outside the framework, but his whole arm is in the framework. And the guy sees hand outside the framework. Is that the what they're?
He's got to restrict him. And so if you felt like he wasn't restricting him on that play, then probably wouldn't be a hold. But so that's what they're looking for, is to make sure they restrict.
What's your belief level in must-win games?
I think every game is as important as the last. And we're through 2 weeks. We've got a lot of corrections we can make. This is going to be a big game as week 3, no matter what. Whether we were 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2, it really is the same approach for us. We always have urgency to play our best and be on top of stuff. And so this week is no different. Our guys are still confident, and we look forward to the test.
When do you see AJ starting practice?
I couldn't tell you that right now. All I can say is he's been progressing as you would hope, and I don't have an update today for you on that one.
How many times have you matched wits with the Sean McDermott defense over the years, whether it's in Carolina, Philadelphia, wherever?
Never in Philly. I think just once in Carolina. I wouldn't count a preseason game, so just one time in the regular season. Yeah, he's a good coach. I've always studied Carolina. We played Arizona early in the season, and the head coach Wilkes had come from Carolina. It's a very similar structure, so we'd watched a lot of Carolina tape going into that. So always had a lot of respect for the way his guys play. They play hard, great effort. They're always very disciplined. They put you in a bind, and so he's done a good job.
Is the timeline on AJ still what you originally thought, or you said?
As we
about?
I was always hopeful he'd be back at the early portion of the season. I can't define what the early portion of the season is, but every time I see him, it looks like he's getting better.
Zach, I know this is pro, not college, but guys can still be motivated. Do you see yourself as a motivator, or do you think this team needs motivated at all?
I don't think. I think we have the right leaders in that locker room where they don't need someone to motivate them and prod them along. They see the mistakes. We've been very clear with that. Again, accountability has been there every single day. And I don't think it's for me to say whether I'm motivated or not. I take the approach I take every single day along with our coaching staff. And, we believe in what we're communicating, and we want our players to see that belief and they feel confidence through that. And so I think the approach we've been taking is good. The players have bought in, and now it's just a chance to put this whole game together and go get ourselves a win.
So on a snap-by-snap basis, as you looked at the tape, you felt like the game got away because of mistakes and not lack of effort?
I would agree with that, and you can define lack of effort by a guy not being in the right place, the right step. You can summarize it as technique or effort, one of the two. But it just seems like we can do a better job with our technique and being where we need to be. But I wouldn't question the effort that I saw on tape from those guys.
Being a former quarterback yourself, what are your views of Josh Allen, looking at him on tape with his arm strength? And he is a running quarterback as well, so what kind of challenge are they going to bring to guys' defense and stopping him on offense?
Yeah, he's a big guy, really strong arm. I probably watched all 11 games, 12 games he played at Wyoming his senior year. So you really got to wrap him up when you try to bring him down because he's big. He reminds me of Andrew Luck a little bit in that sense, and that he's a lot more powerful than you think in the pocket. So you got to be sure tacklers, and then he can extend plays, and he'll try to throw the ball 90 yards if you let him. And so the play never dies. You got to cover every inch of the field, and it seems like he's a guy that they believe in.
Has his accuracy evolved a little bit this year, do you feel like, from where he was last year? Hitting more of those?
I've only watched one of his games from last year and the two from this season. So I can't really say that I watched him a lot at the early portion of last season. Like any rookie, he probably had the same struggles that most guys had, and getting adjusted to a new system in the NFL, different styles. He was playing with the Mountain West, and now he's playing in the AFC over there, so AFC West. So AFC East, my mistake. I was in that division, so I can't believe I busted that. So, year two for those guys usually see a lot of growth. They've won 2 games. He's done a nice job for them and put them in good position. And again, they've been in contention there in the fourth quarter to put the games away. They were down 16-0 to the Jets, and they came back and did it one way, and then they got a pretty good lead, in that third quarter on the Giants and just helped put that game away. So he's done a nice job engineering both those wins.
Having not coached him, I understand that part of it, but a big, strong arm guy like him, young guys like that want to show that big arm down the field. Do you think it takes a while to transition to taking that shorter intermediate stuff and not always closing it down the field?
I think that goes with any first, second-year quarterback, whether you got a strong arm or not. It's understanding situational football, and hopefully he's not very good at situational football this week.
Just a couple more, please.
The Bills have a pretty good ground attack. What can you guys do to kind of fix that area? Because the 49ers really have their way running the football.
Yeah, similarly what we talked about last week, you can't be sloppy with your fits, and when you get a hold of these guys, you got to bring them down because Frank Gore's a tough runner. They got some young, tough runners in there as well. So it's a good group, and they're gonna make you tackle. They're gonna make you tackle on the perimeter. So DB's got to do a good job fitting up and being where they're supposed to be, so that ball can't bounce outside and get big gains because they'll make you pay for that stuff. So all the things we've pumped on this week.
With missed tackles last week, is that something that's stressed with more tackling drills than usual this week in practice?
No, it's just being at the right place at the right moment. And we always work on tackling. Really in this age of the NFL right now, the tackling is limited during the season. It's more drill work where you're tackling the dummies and things like that. So, but again, it's just being great with your eye discipline, being in your gap when you're supposed to be there, being one step faster than you were previously, and then there's not that much space for the guy to get up on you and make you miss. And those are the keys to what we got to get better at.
Nobody's asked
Last one, please.
about special teams. How did obviously the game started with a problem, with the penalty, but overall, how did special teams, how they played for you this year, and how's the matchup this week against Buffalo?
Well, I think last week we did a good job on the punt. Kevin did a nice job. We're getting about 45 yards on the dot every single time down there, and they're doing a good job covering. Limited on kickoff returns so far. We had 2 penalties in the last game, so that's something we really got to clean up. But I think overall those guys have done a good job in the last game. It really didn't come up and make a big difference one way or the other, but I think that those guys have been improving.